Hi, this is Kim Patterson. I am in real time, and I'm actually getting to experience technical difficulties in real time. So this is fun and this is new. I had hit the remote for my start, and I was just talking away. I was just teaching away, and then all of a sudden I looked, and I'm like, I'm not recording. So this is take two of real time. Technical difficulties hopefully are over. I am recording right now. I see the little clock ticking away, so this is good. Welcome friends. I'm so excited to be with you today, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about what I was sharing last time with, seeing God in different ways, seeing Jesus in different ways, and putting him on the throne. And then he begins to release that, okay? He wants to give us a revelation of himself. But when I say that, it's not that Jesus is just one thing you have to wrap your head around, one person. He has so many different attributes, and you need to take each and every attribute and put them on the throne of your heart. Just like God has so many names. The reason he has so many names is because he's so big. Not one thing describes him. And so he has so many names. And so to capture who he is to really get a revelation of him as that name. So that's what I was trying to tell you last time. But I want to acknowledge this time that can be difficult to do, especially if you've known him one way and you like that Jesus, and now he wants to reveal something different to you. You're like, whoa, but wait a minute, I don't want to mess up my view of Jesus because I got you right here. And so it can be difficult. It can even be difficult in the natural. I don't know about you, but I used to babysit kids every once in a while. It wasn't a huge thing I did as a teenager, but every once in a while I babysit some kids. And so I know that, child is somebody that I babysat. Well, of course, now, several years later, I'm a lot older. And so what would happen if, now that kid that you used to babysit, all of a sudden he grew up too. And then he became a doctor. And now the doctor that you need to go see, you walk into the office and there's that kid that you babysat and that you sent him to his room and changed his diapers. And now he's your doctor. So it can be kind of tricky to see somebody in a new way. And this for sure happened with Jesus. If you'll go to Luke 4:14 through 22, these verses talk about when Jesus went to his hometown in Nazareth. He was just starting to gain some fame, some notoriety. People were knowing who he was. And he walks into Nazareth and goes into the synagogue, and he's going to step up to the podium to preach. Somebody hands him a scroll, and he reads from the book of Isaiah. And Isaiah 61, specifically the one that I had shared with you, where, it reads that the sovereign Lord is upon me, and he has anointed me to preach the good news. And as he is saying these words, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, is on that. And now all of a sudden it is opening up everyone's eyes to the fact that he's referring to himself. He is saying these things about himself, that he has been anointed. And at first they're impressed, or they're amazed. But then this is what they start to ask themselves. They say, wait, isn't that Joseph's son, the carpenter? And so they begin to remember Jesus growing up in their hometown, that he's that little boy. Hey, I babysat that little boy. Hey, that guy made me a chair. He's a carpenter. He's somebody's son. And so they don't like what he's saying about himself. And they get very angry with him to the point where they're going to throw him off of a cliff. So this happens as Jesus begins to reveal more of who he is. We start to resist that, because you're like, well, Jesus, I don't need you as that. I've already got a doctor, thank you very much. I don't need you as that. So we have to work through those things and not throw Jesus off the cliff, but begin to see him for who he is. We need a revelation of all the things that he is. Okay, and so he, all throughout the New Testament, in the Gospels, he begins to go through this process and reveal who he is. Let me just share with you, one of those transitional places. Okay, if you'll go to Mark 4. This is the account where Jesus and his disciples are in a boat, and then a storm comes. Winds, water, waves coming in the boat. Oh, it's just, the disciples are very fearful. They are afraid for their lives. But guess what? Jesus is in the back of the boat and he is sleeping. So he's just, sleeping on a cushion. Let me read that to you because it's kind of funny. Okay, it says, Jesus was sleeping in the back of the boat with his head on a cushion. Okay, the disciples woke him up, shouting, "Teacher, don't you care that we're going to drown?" And so this is so funny because, the storm, definitely represents things in our lives that's going on, that's very turbulent, that's very distressful. We have all kinds of trials and troubles. And, what's the first thing that we do? We call somebody up and we want to tell them all about it. We want them to share in our misery or our fear or our anxiety, our anger, whatever we're going through. We got to call somebody, and we're like, sometimes it's in the middle of the night. We got to wake you up and tell you what's going on so that you can, empathize with me, so you can give me some compassion, give me some advice, and so this is what they're looking to do for Jesus, is to wake him up to the situation that was at hand. And has anybody felt like that in this time that we're in? Like, where's Jesus? He's sleeping in the back of the boat. Somebody better go wake him up and explain the situation, what's going on. And I don't know about you, but do you have anybody in your life that's like that just feels the need to wake you up? We need to wake you up to this, what's going on. And, what they're really wanting you to do is to enter into that fear, anxiety, anger, whatever that is. They want you to enter into that with them. But I like what Jesus did. Okay, let's take a look at that. I got to grab my Bible again. Okay, so he wakes up from the back of the boat. And he says, he doesn't say to the disciples, "Oh yeah, look what's going on. This is terrible. Oh my gosh. Those waves are high. I'm afraid for us." Yes, he doesn't come into any kind of agreement with the situation of what's going on. He gets up and he rebukes not the disciples, but the winds and the waves. And he says, "Peace, be still." Another version says, "Silent, be still." But he's talking to the storm. Okay, so they were looking for someone to empathize with their fear, but what he got was someone who could bring peace to the situation. Okay, so they knew him as a very compassionate man who identified with the troubles of the people and would comfort them. And that's what they were wanting from him. They were looking to him for that. But he wanted to show them a different side. He wanted to show them the Prince of Peace was in the boat with you. And he says, "Peace, be still." Because remember, when you see Jesus as that what you need, and he builds and you seat him on the throne, he can release that to you. So the Prince of Peace was in the boat, and he released peace. He called peace to the storm. Okay. And in the times when that friend calls you and wants you to enter into their anxiety, you need to see the Prince of Peace in your heart. so that you don't get sucked into anxiety or fear, but that you have peace that's been released from Jesus from within. And then you can help that friend, help them through anxiety and fear and bring them into peace by showing them Jesus as the Prince of Peace. And he's right there in that boat with you. And he might be asleep, but he is there. And he's only asleep because he's at peace and rest. And that's what he wants to release to us. Okay. Then after he did that, this is the interesting thing. I love the verse, the text that says, and then the disciples said, "Who is this that even the winds and waves obey him?" Who is this? And so again, he was revealing a part of himself that he had never shown the disciples before. And they say, "Who is this?" And that's what we have to do. We have to see him in a new way and know that this is the Jesus who calms storms. He may calm the storm that's around us, or he may calm the storm that is within us. But he is the answer. He is the one. He is the Prince of Peace that will bring rest to the situation and calm to our turbulent selves. Okay? All right. So he's going to give us a revelation, something new. And the other day, he gave me kind of a new revelation for me to ponder on. And it's funny that this is coming up because I got the revelation with the whole, he's building the throne within you. I all of a sudden had, he's a carpenter. Of course he's building within us because he's a carpenter. That's what he does. And so what he wants to do is every time we get one of these revelations, he is building or has just completed a different construction aspect of that throne. A new part was finished for the throne that he's ultimately going to sit on and be all of who he is inside of you. But it starts with one part, one piece at a time. So he's building. He's the carpenter. Isn't that amazing? Again, other places in the Gospels where he transitions from one, identity to the next. One of the first things I mentioned that he was getting up to the podium to teach because people looked at him as rabbi. He was a teacher. And so he would give lots of sermons, Sermon on the Mount, all kinds of famous teachings. And so they looked to him as teacher. But then he started to do something new. The crowds would gather and he began healing people. It says they brought all who were sick and he healed them all. Well, the Pharisees did not like this because, again, the Pharisees saw him as one thing. And this became a stumbling block for them that they couldn't see him, who he really was. Okay. And so even to this day, because him healing, him forgiving sins, that was another huge one. It was a stumbling block for them and it kept them from seeing who he was. Okay. And even to this day, the church, some people, even within the church, have trouble seeing him as their healer. And they think, well, healing is what he did back in, the Bible times. I'm not sure that God heals anymore. I'm not really sure that that's his will today. You need to see him as your healer. It's one of the names for God, Jehovah Rapha. So it's what he does. He heals, okay? And so, all the names of God, we talked about this last time. Not only is it his name, but it's what he does. So if you want to know what God's will is, then you begin to look at his names, okay? Because that's what he does. It's who he is. It's what he does. And that then becomes his will. He doesn't separate who he is from what he does, and that is his will. So it is his will to heal. He's Jehovah Rapha, the healer. So it is his will to heal, okay? And some people might need to be looking for that healing today. Again, if you are looking for, if you have financial problems, he is Jehovah Jireh, who provides, which means it is his will for you to be abundant and to live in abundance. This is his will. We don't have to question it because that's who he is. We need to begin to let Jesus the carpenter build that piece of the throne that reveals to you that he is Jehovah Jireh, provision and all abundance. Okay, you see how that works? So this is really, this back in Bible days, even today, is tough for people to transition. They like him as teacher. They understand that, but they don't really understand Jesus as healer. Okay, but then they did. Their eyes were completely open. They knew, they saw every time. There wasn't one person that he didn't heal. So now he becomes Jesus who heals people. And they brought all kinds of sick to him. And in fact, one of his good friends, Lazarus, is very sick. And he has two sisters, Mary and Martha. And these are all very good friends to Jesus. And he would visit them when he would go to Bethany. But Lazarus gets very, very sick. And Jesus is not around, but they send for Jesus. Okay, they send for him. But Jesus doesn't go right away. He doesn't go and heal Lazarus because he wants to reveal another side of who he is. He waits 4 days. And then on approaching, Martha goes out and she says, only if you were here, Lazarus wouldn't have died. You can read and look at this in Luke 11. Okay. Let me turn there myself so I can read you some of that. I'm sorry, John 11. Oh gosh, I'm glad I turned to myself. Okay, so she says, oh, only if you would have come, then Lazarus, our brother, wouldn't have died. Okay. So anyway, but he wants to reveal something new. And so he prays to the Father, he thanks the Father, and he calls Lazarus forth, and he comes out of the grave. Okay, I want to back up though to another verse, and I want you to hear Jesus' words. Okay, let's go to verse 11. I want to highlight that this is John 11:11. Okay, then he said, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but now I will go and wake him up. Okay. Very interesting that he's going to go and wake him up. Okay. And it's verse 11:11. So in this time that we're in, it's a time of transition. And in the first go around the clock, remember we talked about that. Okay. We are looking and we are seeing in this transition chaos, disorder, disobedience, all kinds of crazy negative things that are getting us to look at that. We're seeing the storm. Okay, we're the disciples in the boat. We're seeing the storm. And the disciples, and this is probably how we were, like I said, they go and wake up Jesus. Well, now we're in the second go around of the clock. And we're in a repeat, remember? And Jesus is, the Lord is challenging us to look again, okay? Look again. And so now in this verse, we see what's happening. Our friend Lazarus has died. He's dead. Your old life is, maybe a lot of it is dead to what you knew before. It's gone. You're in such a time of transition that what your life looked like before it doesn't look like that anymore. And you think maybe this is a bad thing. And Jesus says, look again. He says, let's go and wake him up. This season of 11:11 in the transition is him waking us up. We need to look again, because Lazarus was dead. Then he came out of the tomb, and Jesus is revealing himself in a new way and in a new identity. And that identity is resurrection life. This is the Jesus who brings dead things back to life. This is the Jesus that makes all things new, and that we're a new creation when we live in resurrection life. Okay, so he wants us to see, yes, that might be gone, that might be dead. And you don't need to wake me up to the fact, but I need you to wake up to the resurrection life. Okay, and so when we look again and we see the life that's in Jesus, this is where we need to keep our eyes. My hubby is coming up from the basement. He works so hard. I love him. Anyway, so this is where we need to look. This is the second look that we need to be taking in this repeat moment. Okay, Jesus wants to reveal something new about himself. And one of the things that we need to see right away is that he is life. He is resurrection life. So what is it for you in this hour, in this time, in this day, that you need to see new life come up, come out? You need to see something new come out of this, something beautiful, a new creation, something that doesn't feel dead. Okay, I just want to encourage you to put Jesus, who is resurrection life, on the throne that he is building within you, so that he can restore peace to you and give you rest in these times, and also give you hope that there is new life, and new life is coming. This is an 11:11 moment, and I'm very excited for you. I want to share a prayer with you that I got today. In fact, if you guys like, this is called Prayers on Fire. This is a great book. It'll give you a psalm each day, and then words that you can pray into that psalm. And so I wanna read this to you, and I want you to see that it is today, May 24th. I don't know if you can see that. It's today. And it says, all I need. You lead me with your secret wisdom. Ooh, I love it. And following you brings me into your brightness and glory. Arise and shine, O sleeper, for your light has come. I added that. That's not really in there, but that's what it reminds me of. Okay, wake up, O sleeper. Your light has come. It is the second go around. We're in the morning. Things are brighter. We can see things more clearly. We have Jesus sitting on the throne of our hearts, and he is giving us new eyes, new vision, new resurrection life. Okay, let's go on. Okay, here's the prayer. Lord, thank you for your infinite mercy and grace. So often I get stuck in my head, wasting time trying to understand matters that are too difficult for me, things which only make sense with your wisdom. It's not possible to be led by my spirit when I let my mind take control. I only end up complaining about things and feeling miserable. If it weren't for your compassion, I'd never find peace. Yet, in spite of my whining, you draw me close and comfort me with your counsel. Your kindness opens my eyes so I can see again. Forgive me for trying to analyze every finite detail of life instead of trusting you with the sheer abandon of a child. Nothing in the whole world compares to you. Your love is all I ever need. The glory of your presence protects me. You whisper secrets that calm my raging thoughts. You anoint me with peace. I don't have to understand everything, I only have to stay near to you, coming closer and closer until imaginations are illuminated by your truth. This is the place of joy. This is life with you. Thank you, Jesus. See him as the way, the truth, the life. Let him resurrect some dead things in your heart, in your mind, in your circumstances. Let him create something new today. See him on the throne anew today. Get a revelation of our almighty Jesus. Thank you, friends.